ॐ वाङ् मे मनसि प्रतिष्ठिता मनो मे वाचि प्रतिष्ठितम् आविराविर्मयेधि वेदस्य आणीस्थ श्रुतं मे मा प्रहासि अनेनाधीतेनाहोरात्रान् सन्दधामि ऋतं वदिष्यामि सत्यं वदिष्यामि तन्मामवतु तद्वक्तारमवतु अवतु माम् अवतु वक्तारमवतु वक्तारम् ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः ॐ May my speech be firmly established in my mind. May the mind too be firmly established in my speech. O self-effulgent Lord, be revealed unto me. May the truths of the scriptures shine forth in my life. May not what I learn from scriptures ever forsake me. Let me lead my life day and night according to their teachings. I shall speak what is appropriate. I shall speak the truth. May that protect me. May that protect the teacher. Om. Peace, peace, peace. Let us feel our true, unchanging self in the deep recess of our heart as a steadily burning candle flame. As I concentrate on this candle flame, my very self I see my whole personality, my whole being illumined by its effulgence. I see I am that light. I see the same light has filled the universe. All is one homogeneous, luminous, blissful existence. Dissolved are all the fictitious boundaries of I and mine, here and there. Now and then, time and space have vanished. All desires are vanished. I am peace. I am bliss. Om. Peace. 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 So friends, let us begin with our regular prayers. Tava kathamritam tapta jivanam kavibhiriditam kalmashapaham Shravanamangalam Shrimadattatam Bhuvi Grinanti Te Bhurida Jana. So we have been studying this part, Sri Ramakrishna as a teacher, as a guru, from this wonderful, very unique biography of Sri Ramakrishna. The author, Swami Saradananda, has mentioned the special feature of this biography in the introduction, that this is not a description of the events in the life of Sri Ramakrishna in a chronological order alone. There is description of Sri Ram, the events that took place in Sri Ramakrishna's life. But the difference is that he has looked into the attitude with which Sri Ramakrishna has performed his actions externally. The subtle aspect of these actions and events has been brought out by him. And he, while doing that, as an explanation, why did he do it? In a single one line, he said, after all, human being is the body and mind together. So, just describing the actions, physical actions, does not provide a full description of the life of a person. So, and also the mind or the internal awareness that prompts the physical actions. External actions, they get prompted by the inner thoughts, and therefore by looking at the inner thoughts we can understand the meaning, the significance of those actions. Otherwise we will not be able to understand this. It is once that it is some children were playing chess, and then in the chess they were saying, "Hey, I killed your elephant, I killed your this and that, I killed your bishop." Well, then if you do not know that this is in the chess, you may think, wow, let me call 911, what a violence is going on here, you say. So, the meaning of the actions is only with the background, the other aspects of it, the context of it. So, in the context of the thoughts, the emotions, the inner awareness, that one can understand the physical actions. And this becomes very important thing when we are discussing the life of an incarnation of God, which is very different from the life of an ordinary person. Like in Bhagavad Gita, that Lord Krishna says, Janma karma cha me divyam. And that the actions here, they look like the actions of human being, but they are not. Divyam means they come from a divine origin. So, the birth as well as the actions, I am not going deep into the description of this, but the central point here to understand is that the actions that we do are prompted by our worldly desires. And these worldly desires also are prompted by our ignorance about who am I and what this world is about. We all feel a sense of imperfection, some lacuna, something missing in our life. And that comes out in the form of desires. That, okay, I lack this thing in life, so let me get this. So I feel then that if I get that, I will be all right. So I run to get those things. So this becomes then our life. Shankaracharya, in his introductory commentary on the Brahma Sutra Bhashya, that Brahma Sutras, it is an important treatise giving the truths contained in the Upanishads in a philosophically consistent manner. So, in the beginning of that, Shankaracharya has given a commentary, an introductory commentary, which is considered philosophically a great masterpiece of all times. And there he mentions that our life in ignorance is based on this fractured awareness, I and the world. This fractured awareness, I and world. On that, all our actions, all our life is based, I and world. This division itself is a big mistake, a tremendous error. Actually, in truth, there is no such division at all. And therefore, all the actions that we do, they have this basic problem that I and world, Yushmad Asmat Pratyaya Gocharayoho Vishaya Vishayinoho. That Vishay and Vishay, Yushmad and Asmat, that and this, you and I, that is how our life is. So that is therefore full of desires, none of which can ever be fulfilled. All these desires, they are like bottomless pits. We keep on pouring something in it, it does not get filled at all. That is the nature of the desires that we have. And so that prompts our life. Keep on pursuing those. Now, with incarnation of God, the basic ignorance is absent there. So therefore, although they perform the actions like us, that is only to teach us. One great Marathi saint says that it is for the education of a child that the teacher also holds a slate and a pencil and says, A, see, this is how A, do you get it? A, what is it, tell me? And the child says, A, thinking that, well, a teacher is also like me. The teacher is also holding the pencil like me. But the teacher doesn't have that ignorance. But to teach the child, it is holding the pencil. So, is just for the sake of teaching, Sri Ramakrishna too performs these actions. Again, let us look at that commentary of Shankaracharya in the introduction of Bhagavad Gita, that they act as if born, as if they also need things, as if they are living lives like us. That and why? Bhutanu jigrikshaya swaprayojana abhave api bhutanu jigrikshaya. A very potent statement that there is no purpose, there is no their own purpose to be fulfilled, but just out of compassion for those who are suffering, And that is how they act. I was walking here right close by on the Waterman Street some days back, and then from my jacket a paper fell. And somebody walking behind me ran and picked it up and ran to come and give me. Now what is it? Now that person has really no selfish interest in that. There was only out of this awareness that it must be or may be something very important for me, And so it is a very kind gesture. So this is how the incarnation's life is. That, well, the human beings, they are suffering because of this basic ignorance. And so, unless they are given the knowledge, their suffering will not go. Whatever else they may do in life, the suffering, because it is product of ignorance, only knowledge is capable of taking it out. So how to teach, how to bring this knowledge to our doorstep? We human beings, we have this compulsion, constitutional compulsion, that we can learn from other human beings. It is many times this question, especially in the American universities and schools, when I go there, it gets, why God has to take human form? Why? To teach us. In your school or college, do they appoint a dog or a cat at the position of professor? No, it is only human beings are allowed to apply for those posts, because this is our constitutional compulsion, that we can learn from only human beings. So, because they are like us, we are at their level, and therefore to teach us that all pervading reality, which is inexpressible, without any selfish purpose, assumes the human form just to teach us. So therefore the basic difference in their actions is here. They perform actions just like us, and yet there is no desire that is prompting it. And therefore it is so difficult to fathom the meaning of their actions. If an ordinary person is, looking for a job or something, we know that, well, that person needs a job, wants money, and so has to, pay all the bills and so forth. So needs money, therefore he is doing job. With Sri Ramakrishna, no need, and yet is doing the job of a temple priest. So suddenly our understanding becomes, that, well, Sri Ramakrishna is doing the job of a temple priest. Others are also doing, but this is a difference. So, without any desire, he is doing that just to teach us. So, therefore, many not finding the similar purpose like ours. We understand purpose of ours, and like ours, whatever we do. We want a companion in life, and so we go for that. And we go for various different sense enjoyments. And so, if somebody is doing that, we do not consider that person to be insane. Normal person, his behavior is normal. Because like all of us, that person is also running after money, and wants to become richer and richer, wants also all these sense pleasures, wants also to hold on to family, this, that, and so forth, my, I and my. Since we do not know what is I, there is no question even of knowing what is my. Therefore, whatever we call one sometimes as my is no longer my. We wonder what happened. It is my. There is just a matter of convenience that you were thinking that like my car. Suppose you bought it before buying in the shop. Was it yours? What, Vishwanath? No, it was not my then. Then some transactions happen, then you start calling it my. Then after a few years, you decided to sell it. Now somebody took it. Now can you call it my? No, not my. What is my there, Similarly, this is, I am starting with the example of a car because you can see it. What about your children and all? They were not yours before they were, connected to you. No. And after they go away, are they yours? They go move somewhere else. They have different thoughts, this, that. They have their own different lives. So, are they yours? No. Were they ever yours? They were never yours. Just ignorance was the glue, because of which you thought them to be yours. It is anything in this life, therefore, when we call it mine, we are committing a big blunder. It is because it is not mine. Only one thing we have right to say mine. God is mine. God is mine. Ever was, ever will be, will never forsake you. Even if you try to run away from God, you will not be able to do that. It is like a gold ornament, if some nice necklace made of gold. Now that necklace wants to run away from gold. Is it possible for it to run away from gold? Not possible. It is by nature gold. So we all are by nature divine. And therefore, howsoever we try to run away from this fact, not possible. And God is our true nature. So, this is the truth that Sri Ramakrishna and other incarnations of God have come to impart to us. Knowing which, we will see that we don't need to do anything to become happy. I am happiness itself. What do you want to add in sugar to make it sweet, Ritu? Do you need to add something to sugar to make it sweet? No. By nature, sugar is sweet. You don't need to add anything to sugar. You add sugar into something that becomes sweet, you see. So, it is exactly like that. Nothing needs to be added here to make me happy. I am happiness. I am happiness. This has to be remembered. Do you see it, Sangeeta? You don't need to add anything to be happy, to know you are happiness. So this truth is to be learned. And so that is why the God is taking a human form. So actions are like us, but not exactly like us in its inner content. So what is the use of it? The external actions like us make us connect to that incarnation. Looks like me. Yes, looks like me, talks like me, and so we come to a conclusion that must be like me. Yes, in a way it is correct if you go deeper, that must be like me, that it essential truth of them as well as us is same. No difference at all. So, by comparison we learn that okay, mm, I am suffering whatever I do, well, uh, I again gets miseries in life. Whereas this person is always happy. I see, well, I am having back pain, this, that, suffering. That person also has much worse physical problems and yet is not suffering. Mm. There is the pain and pleasures they come, but whether suffering or not is a question of how our awareness is. So, if a person, say acting in a movie, is showing lot of pain in life, oh, misfortune after misfortune happening, lot of subjected to lot of cruelty, and you see that person in lot of pain, but the actor, is that actor really suffering through all this? No, in fact, is very happy. I am acting great. So it is when the actor sees that all those who are seeing the movie, they are shedding tears. The actor feels happy. See, my acting was so great. You see, so it is like that for the incarnation of God. This is just acting like human beings. And so there is no suffering. There is no bondage either. So this is a very special feature. The law of karma, as it is called, every action is accompanied by its results, the reactions. The action will be, there will be the result of the action, that also you have to take. So that is how our life is. So if something is not going the way we wanted, and we touch our foreheads, my karma, this is all my karma. But how do we incur karma? Because of that connection of the desires. If there is no desire and no ego associated with it, there is no karma. Yasya naham krito bhavo. I am quoting from Bhagavad Gita. Yasya naham krito bhavo buddhir yasya na lipyate. That the one who doesn't have the idea that I am the doer, and therefore one's awareness is not smeared by that idea that even if that person does all actions, na kurvan na lipyate, is not doing anything, and therefore no results will accrue. It is the person becomes an instrument, that's all. So this is the difference, and therefore Swami Saradananda in this biography tries to bring out the inner awareness of Sri Ramakrishna through the external actions. That is why it is very unique, and he has given the beautiful name. In Bengali it is Sri Ramakrishna Leela Prasang. In English, as you can see, Sri Ramakrishna and his divine play. It is play in the sense of a stage play, stage show. Leela is that play. Means things which just in jest or in acting sense they are done. They are not real at all. That is called Leela. That is how we say the Leela of Krishna, Leela of Rama, because it is the Leela in the sense that it was not really done. it is as if done, as if acted like that. It is the play. So, this is how this life is. So, this is the Guru Bhava, means Sri Ramakrishna's actions as Guru, the play as Guru. And different roles have been taken up by Sri Ramakrishna. They have been told here, like Sri Ramakrishna as a child. Sri Ramakrishna has undertaken the role of a child. So, it is all the actions are happening like a child. Then Sri Ramakrishna as a spiritual aspirant, sadhaka bhava, that his play like a spiritual aspirant. It is. And then Sri Ramakrishna as Guru, as a teacher. And then Sri Ramakrishna's Divya Bhava means the manifestation of all his divine powers, and that is the last aspect of this. So this is the Guru Bhava, and he had split this because that being the biggest part of Sri Ramakrishna's life, internally and externally also, that to teach, the whole life is for teaching. He himself has said that all that happens here, because of total lack of ego, it was difficult for him to call this body as I. So, like we would show the third person, this, he would address his own body also like this, and so would say all the actions that are performed by this are for education, for teaching others. There is no purpose for it. So therefore Guru Bhava was almost always present in Sri Ramakrishna. Other parts, sometimes for a time period was there, vanished later. So, but Guru Bhav was central. And so there are two parts of Guru Bhava. This, he has not discussed it in just one volume, but two volumes. So, and we are in the chapter 4th of this Guru Bhava, the first half of it. So, earlier we saw what is called Bhava Mukha, from which Sri Ramakrishna's teachership emerges, is seeing that all are kind of, now we have to use this language, the limitations of language are there, friends. And therefore, just imagine, that if an ocean is thinking about all the waves on it. Now the ocean's awareness is, well, all of them are rising from me. They are me. They are falling in back in me. So every manifestation in this universe, from the minutest microbe to the big galaxies, all of that is Sri Ramakrishna sees that it is coming from here and merging back here. So therefore in each and every one, that is Sri Ramakrishna is there, and so he can understand. Understand is a mild word, but we have to use it. He can see clearly what is everybody's constitution, what is the mind, in the mind of everyone. It is so difficult, to find out for us what is in my mind. We sometimes think, I know that what is going on in my mind. No, We just think that, well, I know my mind. Well, that is a very difficult thing. You do not know, and you do not even know that you do not know. That it is. So, the mind of any person is very clearly visible to Sri Ramakrishna. He had mentioned it like things kept in the case, in a glass case, are easily visible. So, like that, everybody's mind is clearly visible to Sri Ramakrishna. And so, the problem is clearly visible. Like the doctors, for them, many things are visible which are not visible for an ordinary eye. But when a doctor's eye sees something more than an ordinary person sees. So, it is similarly, Sri Ramakrishna is the teacher of teachers, the greatest teacher, could see what is going on in everybody's mind, and which may not be even known to that person. Sri Ramakrishna is seeing that. Like something, what is going on in my body, I don't know, but a doctor will be able to better understand it, that this is what is happening, this is the problem, and so you have to take these steps to cure it. So Sri Ramakrishna is seeing what all the difficulties, problems in our eye and the world awareness is. You know how difficult to know things in the mind. So there is that story of a man who found a genie on the was while walking on the coast in California. So on a beach he found a genie, and genie came out. What do you want me to do? Now what to tell the genie? So he told the genie, hey genie, look, uh, build a bridge for me from here to Hawaii, because I can't go by sea route, and because of my blood pressure I cannot fly, so I have to drive to Hawaii. So please make a bridge from this west coast of USA to Hawaii. Now even genie said, well, that is too big a job. What do you mean this such a long bridge? Can you ask something else? And this man said, okay, tell me what's going on in my wife's mind. And the genie said, well, how wide do you want the bridge? So it is so difficult to gauge somebody's mind, and even our own mind. So that is where the great teachers are. Last time we were reading that Sri Ramakrishna had always this capability to be a guru even as a child. And this is page 459. In connection with the lives of the ever-free Ishwar Kotis, the master always used this expression. They are like the gourds and pumpkins which grow fruits first and then flowers. It is. Normally, from flower, you see that the flower goes away. Behind the flower is the fruit. So the flower falls, the fruit grows. But with some like pumpkins and gourds, the fruit is in the back. The fruit is in the front. The flower is in the background. So the a fruit grows. So first fruit, then flower. So he says with such people, they are like that, they do not need to perform any spiritual practices for their own sake. By this he meant that whatever spiritual disciplines those great souls practice for perfection, they do so to make aspirants understand that they must put forth similar efforts in order to achieve the same results. Do this like a demonstration, An expert person demonstrates how this is to be done. So the others learn. A singer, a vocalist makes certain, brings out certain wonderful combination of melodies from throat. Looking at that, trying to see how that person is doing it, the others also learn similarly. So one has to observe, understand, learn. One should not be impatient, you see. It is, the story of the impatient student. That there was a doctor and one of his apprentice, a young man, and became an apprentice. Okay, I will also learn. And the doctor said, okay, come with me, we will. So, as they were going, they saw on the wayside a camel this is the story in the desert areas in Rajasthan, in India. So, the camel was under lot of pain, and this was moaning with pain. And so the owner of the camel was at a loss now what to do, what has happened here. And so this doctor said, okay, let us see what's happening, let us help this camel. And so this doctor examines the camel and knows by looking at its neck, stretches it a bit, and then said, okay, we can do something about it. He told that owner of the camel and his apprentice, okay, you hold the neck of the camel like that, hold it straight, and let the mouth be open. And then from a distance he came running and gave a very hard, nasty kick on the neck of the camel, and a big coconut blew out. Oh! And the camel felt so relieved, it is. And this apprentice thought, okay, now I understood how the medical practice is to be done, So, so you can imagine, saw a fellow having this pain. Okay, I will cure you right away. So now it must have been a final cure. So it is. So patience is required for learning. It takes long time. Not that, do you see, Charlie, one has to be patient. To learn things, one has to be patient. Because gradually the things develop, you see. And not immediately that today, many think that, well, today I took the mantra and then now why still I am not having that nirvikalpa samadhi. Well, it is not a matter of just 2 minutes. So it is, one has to be patient, patiently practice. Patanjali also mentions this, that it is satudirgha kala, it takes long time, nairantarya, unbroken. And asatkara sevito dridha bhumi, that satu dirgha kala nairantarya satkara sevito, with great dedication for a long time. When you perform this, then and gradually you will be able to see some results of this practice, and not before that. So Sri Ramakrishna said that, look, when one studies the life of those great ones, it becomes evident that although they appear to exert intense efforts to achieve supreme knowledge, their actions show that they are endowed with that knowledge throughout their lives. From their childhood onward, these Ishwar Kotis means, Koti means a class, those which are in the class of the God. So, they are God-like. So it is, so they do not really have to perform spiritual practice to get that, but still they do, so that looking at them, we ordinary folks will be able to learn. So, it is the fact that such knowledge is manifest throughout the lives of avatars is recorded in the scriptures in every age and in all countries. The avatars of different ages behave in similar ways. For example, we find in the lives of Jesus, Chaitanya, and Ramakrishna that they transmitted spirituality to others with a touch. We come across many similar stories in their lives. For example, some virtuous persons were aware of their advent in a supernatural way. Yeah, you see, this is mentioned in the life of Jesus. Those three wise men, they already saw that there is a star descending, and they knew that an avatar, an incarnation of God, has come here. So also we see about Rama and Krishna, Chaitanya, Ramakrishna, people already, great wise people, already had inkling that yes, such a manifestation of divine is going to appear here in human form. So, their power as a guru was manifest in them during their childhood. They knew from their early life onward that out of compassion they had taken a human form to demonstrate a particular path to uplift ordinary people. It is therefore not surprising to hear that the power of the Guru appeared in the Master's, that is Sri Ramakrishna's life, during his childhood. It is a mistake to think that because such a thing is impossible for ordinary people, it is not possible for avatars either. Avatars are simply a class by themselves. This is a mistake that we do. Suppose I cannot do something, I immediately generalize. Nobody can do it because I cannot do it. It is, yeah, I cannot do so many things. Does it mean nobody can do? I may not be able to climb Everest, but does it mean nobody can climb Everest? People do climb. Yeah. So it is I cannot do doesn't mean it is not doable. It is, yeah. People do such wonderful things. The long jumps in Olympics, somebody has a record of a long jump of 29 feet plus, now it is, for me 3 feet is kind of long enough. So I say, well, cannot be, 29 feet is impossible. Well, but people do. So similarly, because we cannot do it, we think that is impossible. But there is another class of people who can do it. So avatars are a class in themselves. It is in uh, hundreds or thousands of years, one such thing is born. One such person is blessed with such a birth, and that birth becomes a great blessing to humanity. Look at how big a blessing these lives have been to us. Think of the life of Rama, life of Krishna. What great virtues have they supplied to humanity with? It is, and the religion, whatever we may think about, in an abstract way, but practically speaking, they embody religion for human mind. Take out all these personages, like take out Jesus, take out Buddha, take out Rama, take out Ramakrishna, Krishna, and all that. Take them out. What is left of religion? Almost nothing. So it is, they are a class in themselves, and through them, humanity learns a little bit, bit by bit, according to their capability. Ocean has huge, storage of water, but I get according to my pot. If I have only a tiny pot, then I will get only that much. Somebody may have a huge barrel, will get a barrel full. So it is according to my how big is my heart, only that much gets filled in it. So that is how humanity is learning from them for eternity. The first vivid display of the Master's power as a Guru occurred in his birthplace at Kamarpukur after he had been invested with the sacred thread. He would have been 9 or 10 years old at that time. The celebrated Pandits in that part of the country were invited to a Shraddha ceremony at the home of the Lahas. Lahas, even now you can see that their home in Kamarpukur, where they were kind of one of the wealthy households in that small village, and very pious people. So, there were a lot of scholarly people brought for a particular ceremony. They were invited and they were debating about an abstruse, somewhat difficult to understand principle in scriptures. And while they were debating, this is what happened. As usual, when many pundits, many scholars gather in one place, they started debating vociferously. When, after prolonged discussion, the pundits could not come to a conclusion on a particular scriptural point, the boy Gadadhar, that was Sri Ramakrishna's name then, Gadadhar, asked a pandit whom he knew, can't the problem be solved in this way? Then he stated a solution. Driven by curiosity, many village boys attended the meeting, but they hardly understood any of the Pandit's noisy and animated debate. What Sri Ramakrishna suggested was a solution that threw such a all clarifying light on the discussion. All these Pandits, they immediately agreed that this is the way forward, this is the solution, this is how this point gets resolved. So this is an example. You can see that similar incident had happened in the life of Jesus as well as he was child. So we shall continue this discussion by the grace of Sri Ramakrishna next Tuesday. Now the time is almost over. So If you have any questions about today's discussion, please feel free to ask. Yes, Charlie?
Why didn't those pundits recognize Garadar as an avatar then if he already had that? And the things you said about the wise men, that's only a myth. It's not necessarily literally true. And the same thing with the myths about Rama and Krishna. So how do we really know that they had this knowledge from childhood?
Well, you have combined two questions there. Firstly, why did those scholars did not recognize Gadadhar as an incarnation of God at that time? In not It was not necessary for them. They didn't think in those terms. They understood that this is the solution supplied by a child, but this is solving the problem. That does not take them to immediately conclude. They were patient, just by one incident. They were not immediately going to conclude that Sri Ramakrishna was incarnation of God. But in that village there were a few who even then, while Sri Ramakrishna was child, by observing many actions of his, concluded that he is an incarnation of God. Your second question about myths. Well, it is how do we know that they all are myths? It is anything that is written about anybody's life could be thought of as myth. It is especially something that has happened that long ago. It can be a reality. What right do we have to say that it is myth? It is like Jesus' prediction by those three scholars that the uh, mm, king of men is born. Now it is mentioned in in Bible. So it is there a reason to think that it is not right? There isn't any particular reason to say that it is myth. Why it is to be just considered as a myth? Is there just because some these historians, they do not find a corroborative written record of some kind that they want, that doesn't make it a myth. And then if you say that, well, such things are uncommon, their whole life is to be called a myth then. Because everything is so different from compared to ordinary human beings that the whole life is to be discarded. What is, for example, with Sri Krishna? How many things you can show as common with ordinary human beings? It is impossible that it is. So, do we mean to say, therefore, why just one thing? Say that everything is just myth. Their whole life is myth. They never existed. It is so. Therefore, that is not a healthy way of looking at it. It is, in my opinion, there might be, of course, some exaggerated stories in that. But therefore, the life of Sri Ramakrishna, which is comparatively very recent, has been written by a person like Swami Saradananda, who was, having such an analytical mind, a scientific mind. That was what in last class we saw, that he says we examined Sri Ramakrishna in such a way those days that now nobody will dare to do that. They will think that, oh, that will be an insult to Sri Ramakrishna, because now Sri Ramakrishna gets accepted by so many millions of people as incarnation of God. So now they will not go to test him. Just do salutations, okay. But at that time, he was being looked upon as an ordinary kind of madman. So whatever he is saying, let us test. All of those young disciples of Sri Ramakrishna really tested him. And Sri Ramakrishna not only passed through all these tests with what you can say A++, it is, he encouraged them to test. Okay, test me, because as you test me, you will get that illumination. So therefore, so many things that we cannot really believe because those things do not happen in our lives. Does it mean that all of them they didn't happen? So discard, you have to say that Sri Ramakrishna never lived. Yeah.
One other thing I thought of tonight, you said we are happiness itself.
Yes.
Wouldn't it make more sense to say we are potentially happiness itself? The ignorance before we can actually realize.
Well, for realizing that you have to get rid of ignorance, but ignorance is not a particular thing that you have to get rid of, you know. Can you hear, here is the ignorance, come on, let me take a broom and push it away. It is perceived in ignorance, means it is not really there. So we are blessed. The meaning of saying that it is potentially there is only because we are not experiencing it, that's all. So it is, we are blessed. And as the ignorance goes away, we will see that it is, there is no other reason for it. We are blessed. Any other question? So we shall conclude with the closing prayers. Let me remind you that coming Saturday, in addition to our regular morning, these things like the seva, the karma yoga working here, there is the guided meditation and prayers from 11 o'clock, and then this silent meditation continues till about 8 p.m. So, if you want to meditate the whole day, you can come for that and meditate, spend time in meditation. Second thing is that a spiritual retreat, a day-long spiritual retreat is coming up on October, what is the date? 19th. October 19th, Saturday, October 19th. And if you want to join it, please join. A young brilliant Swami from Sacramento, Swami Chetanananda, is coming to give this retreat. The topic is second chapter of Bhagavad Gita. So if you want to attend the retreat, please sign up for that. You can sign it from our website online, or you can sign here in the bookstore or by mail as well. So now let us conclude with the closing prayers. May the Divine, who is Father in heaven of the Christians, Holy One of the Jewish faith, Allah of the Muslims, Buddha of the Buddhists, Tao of the Taoists, Great Spirit of the Native Americans, Ahur Mazda of the Zoroastrians, and Brahman of the Hindus, lead us from the unreal to the real, from darkness to light, from death to immortality. May the all-loving being manifest himself unto us and grant us abiding understanding and all-consuming divine love. Peace, peace, peace be unto all.